I'd like to give acknowledgement to the Gadigal people, the custodians of this land, but also to the people from the Biennale inviting me to take part and asked me to come. Hello, my name is Badger Bates, and behind me is the Ngatji, female Ngatji rainbow serpent that I designed, and the blacksmiths made it in Sydney at the Everly Works. And it's a big thing for me, big thing for my people, the Barkandji people in Western New South Wales, to come down and talk about what's happening with our darling Barka. We believe in the rainbow serpent, believe in the creation, and if we don't protect the land and everything, we got nothing, we got no future, and that's why I'm down here to try and put our point across from an Aboriginal perspective.
We met maybe 18 months, 2 years ago, and just one of the first things that he said to me was, Matt, since I was a boy, I have always wanted to be a blacksmith. And this was the first opportunity that he'd ever had to come into a place like this, and this was a new way to kind of get his hands into a medium. And he works so broadly across that many different mediums anyway. It was just so cool for me to be able to introduce him to something that he hadn't done before and had loved to want to try for so long. And within a few days, we were starting to throw really fun pieces of art and projects and a good pinball of ideas. And I think that really inspired him. I think for him to sort of step out of his comfort zone a little bit into a space like this, and for me and our team to step out of our comfort zone and meet him in his realm, it was a really cool meeting. So that was 18 months ago. We've kept in fairly constant touch since then, and we're really pleased to be doing the work for the Sydney Biennale with him as we speak. We're racing the clock.
The Ngatji was designed in Broken Hill. We just cut some stuff, put it all over the floor, draw the designs, cut the templates out. So when the blacksmith got everything, he just put the template down. There was like a big snake there, and then he just put the templates on it and draw the design and cut it out and made it easier. So it was done from Zoom and mainly by just talking on the phone. And the blacksmith was a bit worried and saying, how are we going to do it? I said, don't worry, just start at the head and the Ngatji will talk to you and he'll tell you anyhow. And then I said, I know I'm sounding silly, but he'll be right, you'll get it. And so that's what they come up with, and it's beautiful. We didn't want to have the rainbow going right across and touching on the tail. But if you look at the end of the rainbow now, it goes up. It's like a step, you step from down here, you just step up. Also, when you look into the rainbow, it sort of steps back in, like you can walk up it. We wanted to create it like that, so in life, it's best to take a step forward, then go back. We must always walk forward. Being an Aboriginal person, we must invite other people into our culture so we can keep passing it on. And that's why the rainbow's kept like that. It's to step up, and we always got to step up as Aboriginal people to try and lead, to let people know that Australia, our country, is a beautiful country. Look after it and protect it for the future.
It was really nice that we could get down into a project like this, and even when it was stressful, we never made it stressful for each other, and the team never made it stressful, and we've always had a nice free-flowing exchange of, how would you approach this? How would you like to do this? How would, He was very, very curious about our process as well, because he understood once he'd seen us do some of the work that we do, it opened some doors in his mind, and he thought, well, so I could just see him, he'd stand back and you'd just catch him out of the corner of your eye with his eyes on things, and you could sort of track his eyes and get a feel for what he was thinking. And a lot of times I would see him standing aside and we'd be busily bustling away underneath, and you'd kind of take cues just by where he was looking and what he was soaking in. It's that really cool connection to the job, It was, and for him to be inspired by the process, because it was something that he, as I mentioned, he'd loved to be a blacksmith since he was a kid, and for him to actually feel that and be in the room to do it, it triggered some feelings for him and helped to inspire him on journeys like this one.
When I was a kid, there's a place called Whitecliff, it's about 100 k's from Wilcannia. And back a long time ago, the Ngatji, they travelled, there was a male and a female. This one here is a female. And then anyhow, these two Ngatji, they travel, and Granny would always sit down and tell us stories. So the two Ngatjis travelled down from Burke across to Whitecliff. Then they travelled towards Broken Hill, and they went back, and they got to a place called Biennale. Then they went back underground, and they got to back in Barkandji Country as Perry Lake, where the little ones came up, and they went back under the ground. So then we always say, don't muck with the underground aquifers. Take some water out, but don't be greedy, leave it alone, because that's where the Ngatji travel. It'll travel on the top, but also it travels underneath. But then if you travel and take too much water out, the salt will come up. So you must have water on the top to keep the pressure down and keep the salt underneath. And to me, even when the water, the Barka, that's the Darling River, was dry, I always said, don't worry, the Ngatji will look after us. But now with all the flooding going on, to me, I believe that the Ngatjis are cranky, and they're just going to, if everyone wants water, they'll give them water, they're going to flood people out. While the rainbow is there, the Ngatji can make it rain, and it'll blow a rainbow and say, there, be happy. A lot of people always say at the end of the rainbow, you get a pot of gold. But our pot of gold is our freedom and our country.